let's take a look under the hood of Edward Bolman's Noble Head Funnies project, the next classic zine to get the Phoenix Productions treatment. Alongside FANzine Live, I also run a small press publishing house. It's called Phoenix Productions, where I create and publish my own comics and zines. It's a passion project. It lets me tell stories and experiment and support the kind of creative work that I truly love, and I would be thrilled to share it with you. If that sounds like something you might enjoy, check out the preview coming up next and give it a try if you're interested. And as always, enjoy the video. Hi everyone, it's Tom. It's FANzine Live. So glad you're joining us today. Today's video involves a combination of classic zines and the Phoenix Spotlight. Why? Because we are going to dive into the Edward Bolman project that I'm working on with him right now. I thought I would share with you as we go along. I did it differently for Steve Willis's stuff. I did the old-timey presentation. This time I'm just going to do a straight-up video explaining a little of where we've been and what we're doing right now and how things are rolling along. So it started with this. Steve Willis and I have been in touch with each other. He has been, I think, reasonably pleased with how the Collected Cranium Frenzy worked out. At the same time, he has been doing jam comics with cartoonists from all over the country and perhaps the world, though I think it's just the United States. One of the cartoonists he's been working with has been Edward Bolman, who I have incredible respect for and have always thought that he is one of the greatest cartoonists of the kind of that 80s period when I was really active in small press comics. Steve knew I was interested in Bolman's work and suggested that I try to get in touch with him. And so Steve was kind enough to check with Bolman, make sure it was okay to share the address and contact information. That Edward was fine with that, and off we go. But I sent him a copy of all this stuff to show him what I've done, and to my delirious happy surprise, he sent me a copy of this. Now I've got a cover here because he's got his handwritten email address. Noble Head Funnies was perhaps his favorite series, as I understand it, and it's an out-of-print publication. So he found his masters, printed off a few goodies, and put it all in his. Then he drew an original cover. Pretty slick. I was really excited by this. And I said, wait a minute, you got 7 of these? We could do something with it. We could make it into a version of the Collected Cranium Frenzy. He says, sure, what do we need to do? And the cartooning is just great. I mean, he just does incredible stuff. And I suggested to him that looking at this one sample magazine, that the odds are that all he would have to do is send me photocopies, and I could probably get good enough scans and reproductions because his blacks are fantastic. Nothing bleeds to the end. It just is a pretty simple design. He doesn't use any grayscaling. He only uses pointillism on his cartooning. I mean, it's solid black, solid white, and lots of dots and lines. From my point of view, it's a very easy book to do. And so he sends me this. And this is page by page the entire issue 6 and 7 of Noble Head Funnies. And everything I thought was correct. He did do a little bit of touch-up work here. You can kind of see, well, I don't know if he did the touch-up on here, but you can see that there's some work done with the marker. Try to fill in the blacks there. I may have to do some work on that particular page. The entire 2 issues, and that was issue 6, and this is the beginning of issue 7. But even there, he doesn't have all of the pages in this sampler that he sent me. So he sent me all these, and I scanned them all in. So these are some of the pages that he sent me in that other book. Boy, his cartooning is awesome. It's just great. Okay, so he sent me this stuff. I scan it in. I have just a standard pick it up at the office supply store scanner. I believe it's a Canon. They have a setting for straight black and white scans, so you don't have to worry about things like grayscale. They also allow me to scan at 600 dots per inch. But when you go that high, then you have flexibility in how you work with your paper and how you work with your sizes. And I asked him, Edward, you've sent me a 8.5 by 11 photocopied zine of extracts. You sent me masters that are 8.5 by 11. Is this an 8.5 by 11 book? I am not personally familiar with Noble Head Funnies. I was familiar with some of his other work. So I asked him, what do you want me to do? And he said, actually, Noble Head Funnies was made to be a quarter-page mini comic. And he drew at magazine size, at 8.5 by 11 size, and then shrunk it down. So at 600 dots per inch, I'm going to get some beautiful work if we do that. But I did say, I am scanning really high resolution for what we need. Would you like me to send you some options before we just say, let's do a mini comic book? And he said, sure, why not? So I made up 3 different size proofs with Amazon. Now, we have not figured out what we're doing for the cover. So the first one I put together was this, and these are just boilerplate Amazon print-on-demand covers. You just fill in the blanks and then go with it. But I mean, like, you can type in lots of text and you can put in more text. I did think it was funny, though, to put in pictures of cats. So this is a little larger than a standard mini comic. This is the smallest that Amazon can get. So we've got that version. Then I did what we call the half legal version, like Collected Cranium Frenzy Volume 1. This would be like a legal page, 8.5 by 14 folded over. So you've got 8.5 by 7. This is the 8.5 by 7 version. I like this just because it's largely proportional to the size of a 8.5 by 11 page. And then I did the full 8.5 by 11 itself. And again, text, even more text. Oh my God, so much text. And I just was throwing in pictures of stuff to show that we could do pictures and just to give them a sense of the quality of the covers. I like to do matte for the covers. I'm not as big a fan of doing gloss. And then I showed him, because I'm trying to give him an example of stuff that he can deal with and stuff that he would have in his books. So I sent him this, and oh, hey, there's that page. And look at how nice the black's cleaned up. So it worked out really good. Well, he looked at the 3 of these, and there's one particular page that he just didn't like the scan on, but it really was more because the master was a little bit messy. He decided, having looked at this, he said that he didn't care for the giant one. And it just didn't do what he wanted. He didn't care for it. So that's gone. So then we were down to these 2, and we ended up deciding that if we're going to not do the giant size version, so we might as well chuck this as well and try to get back to as close to the original as possible. Now, this only collects issues 6 and 7. He has since gone to, actually, he had to cross state lines to go to a storage unit and pull out all of his masters for Noble Head Funnies to make photocopies of them and then ship them off to me. I now have issues 1 through 7 in my possession for the masters. I have not yet scanned 1 through 5. I've only got 6 and 7. But what I think we're probably going to do is, rather than do a volume 1, 2, and 3, we'll probably just do one giant book, because that's just not a very thick book. So if that's the case, triple that. I mean, we're still talking probably smaller than an edition of Collected Cranium Frenzy. And I think you folks would love to have a single collection of Noble Head Funnies by Edward Bolman. So that's where we're going. We're going to be doing it this size. Interestingly, there is a little bit of a tweak to this. This is bigger than a standard mini comic. This is a quarter-page mini comic, or mini zine. It's a quarter page. This is the standard size that he was formatting for. I'm going to line it up on this bottom corner. Look at how much more space there still is. And this is the smallest that Amazon will let us do. So I wanted to give him some ideas on what to do with this. Threw in a couple blank pages at the front to suggest that we're going to have some, legalese and introductions, and who knows, maybe find someone to do a good forward. And then this is actual mini comic size, where I just did a straight up shrinkage of the page to the mini comic, the quarter page mini comic format. But what that does is that has huge margins. I mean, huge margins. So cool. Edward Bolman is as creative as Steve Willis. He's as creative as the Hutchinson brothers. I mean, he's a legend. They all are. Anyway, these are the margins if I had, because this is the smallest I can get away with Amazon. These would be the margins that I would have if we kept it at projected original intent, the original sizing that he wanted. It reads fine, but it's not what he particularly wants. So I thought, rather than just send it all off and not show him what we could do with this slightly larger size, in the back, I did a handful of pages at the larger size. And I think this is what we're going to do. Compare. That's the margin, the size that we're going to use. This is standard mini comic size. So we're boosting the size just a little. Size is probably going to be about maybe 3/8 to a ½ inch taller and proportionately wider. It's still going to look great. And truthfully, it'll be like a pocket-sized book. He's so good. He's so good. Folks, you're going to love it when this is ready. Next part on the project is scan those first 5 issues, get them into InDesign, and then start maneuvering them and manipulating them to be able to get them to fit as nicely as, say, these pages fit. And once we do that, we're off to the races. My hope is that this, along with the long-awaited project for the Hutchinson brothers, Wild Kingdom, their edition of Joe's Comics, that all this stuff will be ready to roll by space on March 28, 2026 in Hilliard, Ohio, where I will be, along with Steve Willis. Folks, let me know what you think about this project. Let me know if you have any suggestions, any observations. Did anything surprise you? Do you have anything that you want to toss in and make me consider before we get too deep into this thing? I'd love to hear what you think. The feedback on this is always what makes it so much fun. We've had fantastic feedback on the Steve Willis project, good feedback on the Hutchinson brothers project, though I haven't shared as much of that as I probably should. And now we're jumping into the Edward Bolman stuff. So I'd love to hear what you think. And as always, leave a comment there. But don't forget, like the video, subscribe to FANzine Live, and tell your friends, because Noble Head Funnies classic mini comic series is getting the Phoenix Masters treatment. Really excited. Thank you for watching, everybody. This has been FANzine Live. I'm Tom. I'll catch you next time.